One thing that I noticed about Merab is that there are so many people that say that he is not boring anymore and that he's super exciting and that he is like what we need in the bantamweight division. After the Umar fight, everyone started to switch up and say, hey, Merab is actually great, he's super exciting, I'm a fan now, and all the hate stopped. I think partly because Umar Nurmagomedov is a Dagestani and a lot of people don't like them. So they really like the guy that beat the Dagestani, right? The only problem I have with this is that I watched the last fight against Cory Sandhagen and it was boring. I feel like some people don't want to say this because they want to show that they are a fan of Merab, but it was boring. All I saw was like boring striking for like 10 seconds, then an attempted takedown, and maybe he gets it, maybe he doesn't get it. If he doesn't get it, he tries to push Cory against the cage and kick his thigh. And this is all. And I'm just thinking like, this is not an interesting fight. And I admit that the Umar Nurmagomedov fight was super exciting, okay? But I think it was exciting not because of Merab, but because of Umar. Because Umar gave his all, he showed great takedown defense, and he just forced Merab to be entertaining. But someone like Cory Sandhagen cannot do this because Cory Sandhagen is not a real fighter. He is a psychology student who feigns at range and reads books about Genghis Khan. So this is who Cory Sandhagen is. He likes to inform himself about history and psychology, but he's not the guy who goes forward and fights. He just kind of wants to look cool and get some TikTok clips, but that's it. So against these kind of opponents, Merab will be boring. And the next thing I have to say is, even though I like Peter Yan, I think the fight will be boring against Merab. Because all Merab is gonna do is attempt a takedown 50 times, then strike with him for 5 seconds, then push him against the wall, and then kick his thigh, and that's it. And you have to think about Peter Yan is one of the best when it comes to takedown defense. I think he's gonna defend 90% of all the takedowns easily. But defending a takedown, it's kind of boring. Like in this time, nothing's really happening. So what I'm gonna say with this is that Merab is not an entertaining fighter. Even though he beat a Dagestani, which maybe you really like, it doesn't make him entertaining at all. And I mean, I can understand that he gained a lot of fans in the Umar fight because it was really entertaining. But he's not going to be entertaining, in the next fights. Absolutely not. Because it's not his style. Like, his style is just takedown, 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 takedown. And he doesn't even care if he gets a takedown. It's just the attempt. And for me, this is just boring to watch. And I feel like a lot of people are not honest to themselves and are not honest, and they kind of act like that this is so cool and interesting. Even I was watching like the MMA Gurus video about the Cory Sandhagen fight, and he said like, yeah, it was good fight. Sometimes there was not too much action, but it was good. Kind of like he was not really criticizing Merab for it or Cory, and I was thinking like, why are you now so different? Like just a couple of years ago, if Merab had this kind of performance against Cory, you would be saying it would be boring and you would hate on Merab. But now everybody switched up. Like so quickly, just one fight and everybody switched up. Now Merab is so entertaining and so cool and you have to watch his fights. But it's a lie. It's just a lie. And it's almost reminds me of the Dagestani fan base. And I don't mean like the Islam Makhachev fan base, I mean like the Magomed Ankalaev fan base, for example, that pretend to like boring fighters. you're kind of the same way. Now you present Merab as an interesting fighter, even though he's not, you know? Just because he beat a Dagestani doesn't make him entertaining. So, all I'm gonna say is, I am not impressed by Merab's performance. I'm impressed when it comes to skill, absolutely. But I have to say that Cory Sandhagen is not that good, okay? And I will die on that hill. Cory Sandhagen is not that good. I mean, he's losing a fight in the fourth round. He stuffs every takedown, so he has the opportunity to strike with Merab, and then he throws like one strike a second. And like, the strike has like the power that maybe I could have, you know. I've never trained MMA, but maybe I have the same power, you know, because it's so weak that he doesn't even inflict damage, okay? So Cory Sandhagen, he's a guy that likes to read mangas about martial arts, okay? I give him that. But he's not a real fighter, alright? So, I don't know where I was going with this. I just needed to say this because it made me so angry. Cory Sandhagen, he makes me so angry, you know? Especially, do you remember like this TikTok clip where he's like, yeah, I'm now so violent. Everyone that I see, I'm just gonna want to hurt them. I'm gonna give my best to become the champion. And then I see him, he doesn't hurt nobody, you know? The only guy he can knock out is like a 40-year-old Frankie Edgar. Like, that's all. Like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like Cory is talking like he's like the best fighter in the world, but he's not, you know? And he never will be. Like, it's because of his mindset. He's not like a natural fighter. Anyway, what I want to say with this is Merab is not entertaining, okay? And some people might say, yeah, you're just saying this because you're mad that he beat Umar. That's not true, you know? Because I think both Umar and Merab have not the most interesting fighting styles, you know? I'm gonna say this. I think Umar has the potential to be more entertaining than Merab, though, because Umar Nurmagomedov, he's a striker, primarily. He's a striker who can knock you out, right? So, he's not even a wrestler. So, everyone who says that, like, Merab is more entertaining than Umar, they're kind of lying to themselves, you know, because, I mean, what do you find interesting about Merab? Like, 10,000 takedowns? Like, because, I mean, it's interesting to see it, like, one time, wow, so many takedowns. But do you want to see, like, all the takedowns, like, in the world? So, I think Umar is more entertaining. But I'm fine that Merab won. I'm not mad about that. But I'm just mad about people that are now, like, saying that Merab is so entertaining because he's not. He's not, man.